Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're all doing well. As a CH YouTuber, I think it's crucial to have a gold making video, so without further ado, today's video will cover how to make gold killing gold bosses. I'll show you the locations, which placeholders to kill, and other extras to make more gold. I've used this method since the Karo update was released. I first discovered the spider boss, ventured out. Surely enough, I discovered there are more than 19 gold boss spawns. This method, in my opinion, is the most rewarding. Sure, you can go out and buy plat and make millions instantly, but where's the fun in that? This is a steady income that beats farming mobs or farming Hawkthirst chests. And if you aren't endgame, killing the bosses might be a little struggle. I started killing the spider area gold bosses around 130 as a warrior back in the day, but if you can kill them at their match level, then you are a beast. I'd recommend investing in a 60 to 80% mount and some restoration potions and idols. These days, 80% mounts are pretty cheap. Potions run about 100 to 200 gold each. You will make your gold back, but it's necessary to get around fast. And for soloing, you want to use your restoration pots as economically as possible. And you can always kill them with a friend too. Remember, if you like this video, leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. This channel is approaching the 300 subscriber mark, so if we hit it, the big 3, then I'll do a 10 chest giveaway in the next video. Alright. The circles represent all the spawn locations, but first it's important to know which mobs spawn gold bosses, and that's what I'll show you for every boss. Teleport to the first camp layer, and then head out to the first spider. I will start from the lowest level bosses to the highest. There is no particular order to start from, but because it usually depends on the competition and their activities. I'm going to show the PH, which is the placeholder, and the gold boss that could potentially spawn after that, just to show you that it will spawn that. They do not spawn anywhere else. If you kill any other mobs in the room, then it's not going to spawn. And all bosses usually take around 30 to 40 minutes to spawn. I killed these as a 130 to 150 warrior back in the day. You could possibly start killing them before that level, depending on whether you set up your character right. All the spider and scorpion bosses, you should expect anywhere from 4 to 11k, which is pretty good. The Scorpion's poison skill might give you some trouble. It may require some pots. The 2 spiders are pretty pain-free, they're pretty easy. Just have restoration pots on standby and use them as sparingly as possible. Later in the video, I'm going to collage together all of the bosses I've killed for this video, show all the gold that they've dropped and accumulated, what I've done with their drops in the auction house, around a month time span. The bogans. The bogan section, there is a gold boss at every color. I didn't always know that. For a long time, I was sure that the green and red bogans didn't have a gold boss, but surely enough they did. Bogans generally drop 7 to 15k from my experience, but usually drop over 10k. Kill the bogan tamer, which is in between the brown bogan and the red, but I don't find particularly worth it, especially if you're a lower level, but it's your preference. He drops tomes and rings. It's important to know the placeholder to kill so you aren't wasting your time. Have the X's on the mobs that do not spawn them and the rooms that do not spawn gold bosses. An important tip when figuring out which mob might spawn a gold boss, and that is if they are 3 to 4 stars, they do not have a path, meaning they don't move around, and they don't spawn after, 3 minutes. Hold on to the rings and tomes. You can give them away or sell them on the auction house for a small price. Back in the day, sometimes I still do, I put all the rings and tomes on like a low-level bank. I'd go around to low levels and I'd look at their gear, see what they didn't have, and then I'd recommend rings and stuff, and I'd sell it to them for a low price. Usually they'd buy it. Like if you try to overprice things, they're not going to buy it, and they usually can't afford it. That's why I recommend sell it at a cheap price. It's a for sure sale. So the fur blogs. There are over 4 fur blog gold bosses. There are a few dummy spawns that you'll have to look out for. One spot on the map where it has a question mark, I could swear that I've seen a gold boss there, but I haven't seen any still mobs there, so I'm not sure if there is a boss there, but if there is, let me know. Fur blogs, they generally drop 8 to 16k in my experience. Yeah, I mean, don't be intimidated by them. They're pretty easy. There's a mob that's standing still there, and for a while I was killing that one, but you'll soon figure out that when you kill it, it will spawn after a few minutes. This one, it won't spawn. That's how I figured that one out. I see this gold making method as a way to get your foot in the door for like potential investment opportunities to maybe turn a profit on some things in the auction house, like cheap mounts or fash that you could sell. This method will definitely give you that. Or you can use it to buy lux or buy elixirs for you to level in the game and progress. However, it's not instant gold and it's achieved over time, but it's still relatively quick, I'd say. Especially if you're, end game and you can farm all 19. So next, the Corrupted Gardens gold bosses. These guys are a little more difficult, and it might be harder as a low level to kill them. Definitely kill them in groups if you can't kill them on your own. They drop anywhere from 9 to 19k. They rarely drop ring, and for a while I didn't know the Lich spawns. For these bosses, my druid, I want to level up in the Lich faction, so I didn't want to group him so he wouldn't lose points there. So I'd give my warrior the lock. You can always do that if you 2-box. I didn't always know the Lich spawns at first because I always farmed the Reavers when I was leveling up the Reaver faction, and but I mostly figured it out through looking at the mobs in the area, which ones are still, which ones are 3 to 4 stars, and do they spawn after 3 minutes. I narrowed it down pretty quickly and figured out which one spawned it. But yeah, if you want to make usually the higher end of the gold spectrum, you can always 2-box group. But yeah, once you reach the point where you can farm all 19 gold bosses, more often than not, there will be at least 1 gold boss up, or sometimes even more. There have been times where as many as 4 bosses up at the same time. Pretty nice. And there's instances where there won't be any up, and that's okay. It's just important for you to control the spawn time, especially when other competition is around, so you know when to go check them, when they might be up. But if you encounter competition at a boss at the same time, just group them and share the gold. It's not a big deal.
I know where we can go, where the sunrise lasts forever.
when you're done killing the placeholders, you can always kill other gold bosses on downtime. Like, I mean, not really gold bosses, but you can always kill other world bosses, the fairy quest bosses, which you can sometimes get some good stuff like Firestorm. All these bosses I farmed casually over the 25-ish day period with occasional competition to make it with a little competition, so I think it's possible to make even more, like really with hardcore farming. Often me and competition kill them at different times, and sometimes you might go to a boss and the placeholder is not there. It's fine. You can just come back at a different time, just check later. You want to sell your rings at the auction house. I usually sell them for the amount of points they have. If they're a little more desirable, you can sell them for a little bit more, like Royal Rupture rings. You can probably fetch anywhere from 10 to 15k for one of those. And tomes, you know, 4 to 5k, max 10k. I usually just give them away or give them to my theater clan's bane. I've also discovered when I 2-box group, I get for sure the higher amount of gold or even more. Also gives a better probability for a double lucky gold proc. But it's really up to you because sometimes it's a pain to 2-box all the time. But yeah, so all the bosses in the auction house sales have accumulated over 1.1 million gold, which is not too shabby for relatively casual farming. Obviously this method isn't new in any way, but very effective and rewarding. So if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, share, and leave a like and comment. Almost to 300 subscriber mark, which means a 10 chest giveaway is due. Have a good rest of the day. Thanks for watching. Peace.